This podcast is brought to you by Salt River Pictures.
Hi, Lloyd. A little slow tonight, isn't it?
Hello there.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Stay on target.
Dylan! Son of a bitch.
Welcome to the Salt River Movie Club.
Hello, and welcome back to the Salt River Movie Club. We are three members of the band Salt River Shakedown. We do blues rock, classic rock, that kind of thing. But this podcast is not about that band. This podcast is about movies. Movies we like, and sometimes movies that we not so like. And sometimes the TV shows that we have fairly mixed opinions of.
Very
like
opinionated opinions.
Yeah. That's maybe a slight foreshadowing. First of all, I am your host, Jake. I am joined by we are the big three of podcasts. We are magicians, aliens, and what was the third one again? I can't remember what there was a big three in the first episode. Robots, that's what it was. So joining me today is our robot, Sean Kilda. There's not much I can do with that, but.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
I've got nothing. I don't have any funny quips.
Hello.
How you doing, Sean? How you doing?
I am okay. I did not sleep till 2 a.m. yesterday, so I'm pretty tired.
You legit sounded like a robot there. You were like, I am okay. I am.
Yes, you and your human feelings. My human feelings.
Man. Right. And over here we have our very own sorcerer.
Dr. Odd.
I'm pretty sure in our group chat I misspelled something. I called myself a mage yesterday, so that works.
I think you may have done, yeah.
Well, all right then.
Yes, I am good.
Yes.
I'm good.
Good.
How
So I didn't actually say your name. It's Alan Miller.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
How is our very own alien doing? Jake McAduncan.
Yep. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
How's Mars this time of year?
Invaded any planets recently?
Well, yeah. I invaded my work. I'm back at work now.
Hey!
Yeah. Not such a planet, but you know. So, yes. Today we are talking about our thoughts on overall The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the new show from Disney Plus, from Marvel. Part of the MCU. Yeah. So let's get some background. I'll give some background information on the show first. It was released in 2021, just in case you're listening to this in like 5 years.
2077.
Yes, it came out literally like 6 weeks ago. It was every episode was directed by Carrie Scotland.
Interesting.
It was written by, there was 18 writing credits for this on IMDb.
Is that unusual for a TV show?
Usually there's a few on a TV show. Like there is a head writer. There's Malcolm Spellman is the head writer on this. And to be fair, a lot of the credits on IMDb are the people that created the original character for the comics.
Okay, right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I just get away when IMDb is
so
like
what you're saying
credits,
is you were clickbaiting our podcast. Is that what you were doing?
Well, there's still quite a few writers. Stars Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, Daniel Bruhl, Erin Kellyman, Emily Van Camp, and Carl Lumbly, with a score by Henry Jackman.
Hey.
So, while I bring up the spoiler alarm, because I'm very prepared, tell me your general spoiler-free opinions. We'll do scores and stuff like that later on, but I vaguely know Alex's opinion, so I'm going to leave that for a second. Sean, spoiler-free thoughts for a second. How do you feel?
I thought it was relatively harmless and it was okay.
Okay,
there you go.
That's not a good start.
I thought it was
relatively. Do you love it when a TV show is described as relatively harmless?
I think it's okay.
Meaning that it caused some harm.
More than likely. It caused harm to my eyes because I watched it. I'm kidding. I thought it was okay. I enjoyed bits of it and hated other bits, but we'll get to that when it comes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're sensing from our tone that we're a little down on
I
this.
brought it from up here.
Okay, let's
just
not
down
give
here
it
a bit.
too much of a hard time. It was balls. Sorry.
Yeah. This is why I'm quite interested in this, because I think this might be our most split opinion on something. Even then, me and Sean are just like, yeah, it's fine. But Alex like, it's balls.
There's bits of it that I really liked. But I mean, I'm just talking about as a, like, I mean, the whole point of a TV show is that you've got like loads of time to develop a good story. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think that happened.
Yeah, I'm somewhere similar to the Sean camp with this. I think where like I think it's I actually like I might, you know, I might actually be the most positive out of the three of you now. Like I did enjoy this show quite a lot, in fact. But like its good parts are great. Its weak points are very weak.
The thing is, for me, is like I really enjoyed the aesthetic of the show. There wasn't an episode that I thought was like meh or anything. It's just the story that bugged me. It's just the story. Yeah, it's just like
it was the length that bothered me.
Too long, too short.
I thought you could have shortened that into a movie and cut out a lot of the kind of filler stuff.
Unfortunately, yeah. Like I think there was a way of doing this story as a TV show and making it really engaging throughout, but the way it was told was just like, this didn't need to be a TV show, you know?
I don't think it could have been a movie either. I think it could have just not existed.
We'll get to that a little bit. But I kind of feel the same way.
See if this was a movie, it would be a shit movie though. I mean, like, come on. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
like, we'll get into that.
Yeah, by the way, if this is your first ever episode of the show,
welcome.
We're not usually this negative.
First of all, this is not what we usually do. We usually do movie episodes every 2 weeks, with occasional bonus episodes for TV shows in between. And we should also say, we're not like Marvel MCU haters or anything. We're massive fans.
We love Marvel. We absolutely.
Yeah, like if this is your first time hearing our opinions of Marvel, like we are huge MCU fans.
We all cried several times during Endgame.
We did. We absolutely adored WandaVision.
We did. Yeah, that's right.
So you should get a sense of like disappointment in this show from us, and not a sense of like, yeah, fuck Marvel. You know, like,
yeah, we're not a podcast that just hates on things to be hateful and like,
see that fucking. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So yes, so from this point on, it will be full spoilers.
Yes,
we're gonna I want to jump right into some quite heavy stuff from the show. Yep. So we'll do full spoilers. So this is your final warning. Spoiler alarm. There's an ad playing. Oh no, Perry Chicken. No.
The chaos.
This is the first time it's ever happened. I don't care about Elon Musk's audiobook. Leave me alone. There we go. The spoiler alarm is sounding. This is your final warning. All spoilers after this point. Okay, here we go.
The fact that Elon Musk got some promo on our podcast.
That's never. I if you don't know, I play that from my phone, just from YouTube, and I've never gotten an ad on that before. It's the first time it's ever happened. Oh man, right.
Why don't you just screen record some of it?
Shut up. I like the chaos.
I do. I enjoy the chaos too.
Right. So, shut up. Let's let's start with our positives. Okay. Let's start with the good points, and we'll get to the bad points later. We can mix it up, obviously, but let's do that.
Insert minute of silence.
And that concludes the positive section.
This was shite. No. There is a lot of stuff I really, really like about the show.
Yeah.
There's stuff that I'm glad exists, even though I feel that the entire show didn't need to. But yes, so good points. First of all, I think the cast and overall excellent. Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, easily we get the most out of them we've ever had. Compared to the movies, and they're good in the movies, but they're particularly good here. I think Sebastian Stan in particular,
he's great in this.
He gets more of a chance to shine. Yeah.
Anthony Mackie is brilliant as well, but like Anthony Mackie does his Anthony Mackie thing. He's very charming. He's very kind of He's very cool. The last couple of episodes, he gets a bit more to play with, kind of drama-wise. Really steps into that.
He does a good speech. I'll give him that.
Oh, he does
do
a good speech.
Yeah.
Oh, that speech is class.
Yeah, but I was really sold on like the way Sebastian Stan did the kind of like the PTSD aspect of Bucky, the kind of trauma that he's gone through. And
He's adored his character arc.
Yeah. He was so good. I do feel like he was maybe a little underserved, especially in the last couple of episodes. But at first, at least, I think he got a lot to play with and was really good.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Wyatt fucking Russell? By the way, like
He is very good.
For me, easily the standout of the show. Like he was fucking brilliant as John Walker.
I didn't when he first came onto the scene, as like everyone's reaction, it was like, who the fuck is this? Trying to be Captain America. I fucking don't like you, pal. Do you know what I mean? But
Such a battering for that.
But
yeah.
Honestly, I hate it when fandoms like have a go at the actor for like literally pretending to be a fictional character. It's like the dude. It's like, if you don't like this character, the dude's literally doing his job amazing. Because that's the point.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You're not supposed to like him.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. He's like, it's good to see so many people are that passionate about this character. How much they hate him. Like, it means I'm doing a good job.
And there was. I remember like about halfway through the show as well, there was a lot of kind of people kind of like saying that as well. Like, can we just give him some credit for making us hate him so much? Yes, I thought he was excellent. Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley as well was also excellent. Even if he only got fucking less than 15 minutes of screen time in the entire 6 hours.
Yeah, he deserved more. Is he a character in the comics?
Yes,
he is. He's Isaiah Bradley. For those who don't know, is a character from. I think it's called Truth, Red, White, and Blue or something like that.
That's the one.
And it was again, it started as its own kind of separate continuity comic about a group of people that were experimented on in the 50s to try and become the next Captain America.
Yeah.
But it's actually a really fucked up dark comic. Like they kind of like most of them die except for him, and then he's imprisoned and kind of like kind of stripped of all his rights and things like that. This show kind of picks up like a version of that character way after all of that's happened.
Mm-hmm. In present day,
and I don't know all the details, but I'm pretty sure like as much as that comic wasn't part of the sort of Marvel canon for a while, like that character got incorporated in later. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I actually don't know.
I could be wrong about that, but that's what I heard anyway. But Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley was
a fantastic performance. Even though like the very last episode, like I almost cried. I'll admit. I thought that was such a brilliant scene.
Yeah. And I want to give special mention to Daniel Bruhl as Zemo.
Yes.
Who's just having a blast.
Yes.
Like every fucking scene. I just love like Turkish Delight. Like just every scene he was his like camp villain.
Yeah.
Like,
when he was dancing in the club, that meme is my favorite thing right now.
Totally.
I have some thoughts on the take on this character, but Daniel Bruhl, I can't fault him. He was very, very good.
We love him.
Yes, he's good. Other positives, unless you two have any thoughts on the cast before we move on.
No, I think that covers the cast.
No, you've hit all the points I wanted to make.
Cool. Other positives, like action wise, can't really fault it. It was pretty top tier Marvel. There was some really punchy,
high quality punching.
Yeah, surprisingly violent as well. Actually, more so than the MCU's been so far. The moment when
especially that one scene.
I was gonna say, let's talk about that scene for a second. I thought that was a turning point where they were gonna go dark as hell.
Yeah, like I think that for me is the most like that's probably my favorite scene. I think like that scene was done really well. And like so like
we should explain this scene. On you go.
Right. Let's get like a brief kind of build up of the plot.
We'll need that.
If you don't care, like if you're just listening to this to kind of get some like what is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Yeah. The basic setup is Sam Wilson and James Buchanan Barnes, aka Falcon and Winter Soldier. They are kind of in the aftermath of Endgame, and Sam has been given the shield by Steve Rogers to essentially become Captain America.
Yeah.
But at the start of the show, he gives up the shield because he feels he doesn't deserve it, I guess. He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want the mantle.
And then the show is about him kind of dealing with that. Or it's meant to be. It doesn't really dive into as much as I would like.
That's
but
maybe the first two episodes. First two
episodes, and then it kind of forgets about it a wee bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Bucky feels more akin to like wanting the shield back for Sam than Sam did up until last minute. And even then, Bucky organised the suit and all that. Like, Sam kind of did fuck all. He just kind of put it on and did a few push-ups.
You're
not wrong.
There's some pretty serious.
Threw the shield a bit in his fucking garden for a bit.
Like Frisbee, we use trees.
Yeah, there is some pretty serious storytelling problems in the show, but we're doing positives. Positives. Let's
we'll get to that in a minute.
I'll try my best.
But yes, he hands the shield over to the Smithsonian to put in the Sir Captain America exhibit. But the government are basically tricking him, and they've kind of created a new Captain America out of this soldier, John Walker.
Like John,
who just a normal soldier. He's not a super soldier or anything like that. And they give him the shield, and they like, you are going to be our kind of Captain America. It's basically a big propaganda.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
They realized that the nation was missing that kind of figure.
Yeah. So they try and do what they did with Steve Rogers in the 40s during World War II. But John Walker is clearly quite an unhinged, unstable man.
Yeah.
And the scene we're talking about at the moment is when he fucking
explain why he did it first, and then explain.
Well,
what
okay,
happened.
so he has his friend who actually is another character in the comics who is his own superhero in his own right. I've completely forgotten the name of the character now.
His name's Lamar.
Lamar. Is he a superhero in the comics?
Yes, yeah.
You got a dud deal then, didn't he? Bloody hell.
I know.
Imagine getting cast as that character and then doing your research and being like, oh, wait, I'm going to be a superhero. Nah, mate, you're going to get killed off by like a dude wearing a mask. A ginger lassie wearing a mask.
Yeah, so during episode 4,
killed by a ginger.
A fight breaks out and Lamar.
I'm sorry.
During episode 4, a fight breaks out between them and the Flag Smashers, who we haven't even talked about yet, but there's a reason for that.
What a shit name that is, by the way.
Let's hold on. Hold on, let me get through this. A fight breaks out between all of them, and Lamar is killed in the process. And a moment that I genuinely found quite surprising. I didn't think we were going to do that, and it was kind of like, holy shit.
Bold move.
Yeah. And then Walker, who has secretly taken the super soldier serum at this point, and is clearly affecting his mind quite badly.
Yeah, and he just I did like the scene where he was having a conversation with Lamar, and Lamar was like, what do you think would happen to me if I took the serum? And he was like, oh, it would just amplify, like
amplifies your personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing I did genuinely appreciate. As much as Lamar was a very undeserved character, they did kind of sell that like he kind of keeps John right. Like he's like they kind of work off each other. They kind of keep each other going.
Yeah.
So when he loses Lamar, like it's a convincingly like my life is ruined kind of moment. Yeah. So they sell that for sure, and it leads to this scene where he rampages and kills one of the Flag Smashers very brutally with the shield
in public.
In public. Possibly even decapitating the guy, but we never see the details of that. So
decapitated him.
That man's not. He's lost his head.
He either decapitates him or caves in his chest, and I'm not sure the difference is that important.
Totally.
What matters is there's blood on the shield.
Yeah, which one of the best images, like that is a fantastic shot.
We've never seen him
standing there,
like blood on the.
I don't think so. No, like it just him standing there with the music playing, and there's just blood all over the shield, and it's just like, that's a great,
it's a good moment
image. That's the thing that will stick with me, I think, from the show.
That image of just the shield, like that iconic shield that's meant to be like that represents everything good, just bloodied.
It's a brilliantly done scene. I really really like that scene. And Wyatt Russell again, it's just just brilliant. And if you didn't know, Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell's son.
Yes, we had the conversation.
Me and Sean were like, what?
I was like, what?
I remember like episode 1 being like, oh yeah, that's Kurt Russell's son. And then like a week after the show finished, Alec was like, guys, did you know that Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell's son? I was like, yeah, Alec,
because
yeah.
I never knew like the actor's name throughout this whole thing, and I didn't do much research or anything like that. So. Yeah. But he does look like him. He does look like his dad.
He does look like him.
He does a bit,
yeah. No, he's very, very good. I mean, which means we've had Daddy and Baby Russell in the MCU so far. Which is quite fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And now he's got a new title of US agent, doesn't he?
Yes, which is so. Yes, if you're unaware, the character John Walker is US agent in the comics, which is basically a more brutal, kind of fascist-y version of Captain America in the comics.
Yeah, I looked it up on. So I typed in US agent into like the kind of Marvel wiki site, and like all the tags that came up was like. It was like US agent, and it was like loads of different things. And at the bottom, it was like Nazi, and I was like, okay.
He's been a part of Hydra and things like that. I'm pretty sure.
Right,
like,
yeah.
I've not read those comics, but I've not read those comics. But
I'm sure US agent starts off like the Dark Avengers stuff as well.
There is some Dark Avengers stuff, yeah, for sure.
It's basically all like imagine the Avengers but evil.
Yeah. I'm not scripted up on the comics and stuff, so. You'll know.
I'm not as well versed as I'd like to be, but I know enough.
There is a kind of thought that they're setting up. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Alex is dying. It's fine.
There is a theory a lot of people going around at the moment. They're setting up what they called the not Thundercats. Is that? That's not it. But like they're setting up.
They get Avengers like big and massive like cinematic universe finishing off with Thanos and all that, and then like new phase introducing Thundercats.
I can't remember what they're called. It's something like that. No, there is a thought that they're setting up, which is like there's a squad that's essentially the Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. Like there's a thought that they're doing that.
I'm thinking, I know the Spider-Man one, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called then. But yeah, the actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus turns up in the last 2 episodes very briefly.
Are you thinking of Stars? And no, I don't mean the Resident Evil one.
No, I'm not. I can't remember.
That's my one per episode, by the way.
Nice, well done. You got it in there.
No, Stars, the Superhuman Tactical Activities and Response Squad, which is an oddly long name.
Right, yes. That
sounds very much like, right, guys, we've got to call something Stars. And then they just like,
like what do you think S.H.I.E.L.D. is? Like someone just wanted to call something S.H.I.E.L.D. You know?
Next thing you know, we'll have fucking Stripes. See if I look this up and there's something called Stripes in this fucking universe. I'm just giving up. Nah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, she turns up and yes, she's kind of in the Amanda Waller vibe in Suicide Squad. Like she's kind of trying to. She kind of names him US agent and things like that in a very, very cheesy kind of for the fans moment. Yes, Sean, what's up?
I found what you were talking about. You said Thundercats. It's Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. That's it. Okay, yeah.
It was bugging me.
Is a different thing. Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I just had to say because it was bugging me.
That's all right. Yes, she seems to be setting up the Thunderbolts, possibly, or Dark Avengers or whatever. But yeah, just kind of an evil counterpart to the Avengers. Evil. Possibly with John Walker as the leader.
Nice.
Which would be cool. I'd be down for him appearing again as another villain.
I like him. I like him. I think he's cool. He's definitely an anti-hero vibe, I think.
Yeah.
Because he turned good at the end, didn't he? So...
Yeah, that is something I need to address, actually.
Well, turned good. Like, he ended up helping, but he's still... Like, he didn't save that bus of people, did he? Like Sam did that?
He tried to, that was it.
He tried. I think the point is that he's not inherently an evil guy. He's just unstable.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he's a full-on villain.
No.
I need to address something. His switch from "I just killed a man" to "I'm going to help save the world" is very weird.
It's so like
that's one thing that annoys me about the show. He just kind of turned up and then was like helping out, and they didn't even. And he was wearing the Captain America suit, and they didn't even say anything. They just did a kind of nod, and it was like,
yeah,
right,
they like.
What does this mean?
I guess the point they were making was just like, okay, we've got bigger problems right now. Let's just deal with this, and then we'll deal with you later. But I didn't need to see him like quipping with Bucky and things like that. You know, like it was just a bit much after what we saw.
Yeah, it felt so wrong. See if like they had not quipped, but like said something about it, even just in passing, I would have been like, right, okay, at least you've addressed it.
Words.
Nice. Yeah, they didn't address it at all. They just killed him.
The writers just like instead of writing a small paragraph of dialogue, they just wrote "nod." Full stop.
Bucky nods.
Yeah, we are naturally getting into negatives now. Last kind of couple quick things I want to say about positives though is just I enjoyed some of the banter between Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. I think some of it was pretty forced, but I liked the Hobbit line. That was fun.
Hobbit line was good. Yeah. Saw it when it came out.
My favourite scene actually addressing this sort of like watching the two of them on screen interact with each other is just a treat for the eyes.
Do you know what I thought was for? Oh, sorry, Sean, continue.
I was just going to say the scene where he's telling Bucky to be like, stop living for like to... It goes through this whole spiel of how Bucky's like trying to make amends for everyone, and he's like, instead of helping doing that, you should be doing this thing instead. I can't remember the exact speech, but it's something along the lines
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's something along the lines of just... You need to just kind of let it go and like start like forgive yourself for it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very powerful scene.
One thing that the main thing I thought was actually forced between them two wasn't their friendship, but like how much they made it out Sam to not like Bucky.
Yeah, that was such a weird.
That was really forced. Like I get it that they don't like each other, but there were so many points when it was like, okay, they're trying to tell us that they hate each other, but like, why?
Because there is a point.
Like, I don't know, it was just a bit weird. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The particular scene that kind of made me think, why are you doing this? Is when they're like, yeah, we're just a couple of dudes who were friends with Captain America. It's like, mate, you're basically pals at this point.
Yeah.
That is quite funny, but like, there was moments when,
Yeah. Because like they've always had quite a fun kind of rivalry in the movies, and like they've never kind of been like best friends. No. But like it kind of felt like that was kind of done.
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. They were trying to do the buddy TV show, but they never kind of let that happen. Like any time when you saw them becoming friends, a scene later it would have them going, "Oh, I hate you."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Arguing. It was never... sure, if they did that for the first 2 or 3 episodes, fine. And then have a moment when it's like, right, we're in this together, like, this is what Cap would have wanted, or whatever. And then move on, and now they're pals, and then, like, you can see in the new Captain America movie, that'll be like, yes, do you know what I mean? But now it's still going to be a bit like...
It's a bit weird.
Yeah, like, I totally agree. Like, I think, like... I don't mind them, like, you know, like they have like a personality clash in general, so they kind of are always going to get on each other's nerves. I don't mind that so much, but yeah, it felt like it was kind of forcing that a lot of the time, you know. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy quite a lot of the banter. There was some good stuff. I liked them on the plane talking about Marvin Gaye's "Trouble Man," the album.
That was a brilliant scene.
The line where Zemo's kind of like, yeah, like it's a great album, and Hatsumaki like, yeah, he's out of line, but he's right. I did enjoy all that.
Steve like Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's some really fun stuff. There's quite a nerdy kind of fact checking thing you can do with the Hobbit line though, where he says he read The Hobbit in 1937 when it first came out. So the book came out in the UK in 1937, and there was only 1,000 copies printed, and the only copies that came to America were a handful of hardcore collectors who imported it over in 1937. Otherwise, it came out in 1938, meaning that Bucky is like a mega nerd. He was like, he sought out like a UK copy of The Hobbit in 1997.
Nice.
Which is great. I like that.
What an absolute lad.
Yeah, I do like all the memes where it's like it's got the Winter Soldier and then it's like Bucky holding cake, like. And it's like, how did we go from this to this? Like,
Yeah.
Have you guys?
it's like we're back to 1940s Bucky, which I do like.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
He's just like, I told him when eyes are like.
Have you guys seen the meme where people are trying to activate the Winter Soldier on Sebastian Stan?
Oh yeah, like people just keep coming up to him and saying the words, don't they? And
Yeah,
like,
he's just sitting there like. It's kind of adorable.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like that. I like the boat built the fixing the boat together. I thought that was fun. I found it really funny the way that the way that Bucky would flirt with Sam's sister.
Yeah.
Like just this
was
big cheesy grin. Like
Yeah, totally.
That was some great fucking character work there.
yeah. I think so. Like, let's kind of transition into negatives. I think episode 5 was the peak for me. I think that is the best episode. The one, like, and it's the one where it totally takes the action down. It just like it's just the characters talking, and it's like, yeah, that's what this show needed throughout, rather than none of that. You know,
Is that is that the episode where it's Sam talking to Carly? Where it just
no, that's the one before. That's episode. So like, okay, so like I think
that. That was one of my favorite episodes where he's just talking to her.
I think episode one is pretty strong. I was intrigued. I was like liking the
See the opening shot as well with the flying.
Yes, yeah. I think the whole of episode 1 was pretty strong. I think episodes 2 and 3 were pretty weak, to be honest. Like they really didn't.
Episode 3 lost me a little bit.
Yeah. 4 and 5 were a step up. 4 was the one with John Walker killing that guy. And then 5, I think, is the peak with just them kind of talking through the problems finally. And then the finale had some good stuff, but overall wasn't great.
Terrible.
To be honest. Like
too much action and not enough talking about what's actually happening. Like
yeah, and it was like I mean, WandaVision did that too, but WandaVision had the action and then got down to the characters at the end, and like this felt like 40 minutes of solid action and 5 minutes of talking.
Yeah, and one
like,
speech at the end.
But it was a good speech, though.
Honestly, it was a great speech. But like, I think the main problem with this is just the villain is just terrible. It's just shocking. It's just so bad. It's like for all the great stuff, with the heroes or whatever, and US agent that is now, like, that was all good and all that, but like the main, like, you know what I mean, like, villain of the series is like a wee ginger lassie, and you're supposed to and she's got like
controversial opinion.
So it's super serum, but it doesn't make you like ripped. I mean, come on, that's grim. I mean, if I got super serum, I'd be like wanting the 8-pack and all that. Like, come on, fuck, man. Like, it's just it just makes it not believable. I know, like I feel like they dulled down like Bucky's powers so much in this, and I kind of get it because now he's Bucky and not the Winter Soldier. But
he's still strong. He still is a super soldier.
I know.
It's so ridiculous.
Like, he was so OP in like Civil War and all that.
Oh, yeah, this is the thing, is that Bucky's a fucking force to be reckoned with. Like, you think back to Winter Soldier, he takes on Sam, Scarlet Witch, and Captain fucking America, and never loses a fight in that film. Like, he literally never loses a fight.
They underplayed him so much.
Yeah,
like,
it's Black Widow, not Scarlet Witch, by the way. He would have got his ass kicked if it was Scarlet Witch.
That's what I said.
Scarlet Witch would have just pummeled him into the ground.
Yeah, that's a different league. Fair enough, but
like even Black Widow is still a force. Like, she's
totally.
fucking
exactly.
OP.
Yeah, and he literally, the only fight he loses is the final one, and it's mostly because the ship that they're in collapses and he falls into the water. You know?
Totally.
Even then, he doesn't technically lose it because Captain America is just like, I'm not going to fight anymore.
Yeah, I totally gives up.
Yeah. So Bucky's a full-on tank. It's a difficult thing to fight, and you definitely get a sense of that in this. Like, he's still really fucking tough. I really like the scene. You see the flashback to him as Winter Soldier in the first episode, where just kind of tearing through this embassy. And
totally.
He's terrifying. Yeah. He's so good.
Quick thing. Controversial opinion. You could take the Flag Smashers out of this series and I would not miss them.
It wouldn't make a difference.
Honestly, I would prefer it without them, because you could do the whole arc of...
Every scene that had them in it made me want to turn it off.
Yeah, I got kind of bored with them.
I did find myself kind of sighing. The thing is... Sorry, when you go.
There was just too many like phone calls between her and bloody Sam, man. It was like,
I know.
Come on, like you don't just call up the villain and like be like, hey, come on, be good. And she's like, oh, I don't
join
really
my
know.
cause.
Like it's I don't know. It was just a bit.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, the main you do need something like that. You need something for Sam and Bucky and then John Walker and Lamar to go after. You need a thing that they're like. I can see like
Zemo.
I really like the dynamic of like they're going after this thing.
Yeah.
And they clash because they're kind of approaching it from different angles. And I think that's a really interesting idea. And I think the Flag Smashers could be interesting, because I think the concept of like during the time when half the population was gone, the world's nations kind of just came together. There was no more borders. Like people just kind of came together and they want to get back to that. And I'm like, yeah, that's I can see the logic in that.
That was a cool.
But the problem is that motivation was so underdeveloped.
Weak.
It took until like episode 3 or 4 before I even realized that's what they were wanting.
They didn't even show any. See if they'd shown any of the public like getting involved in this cause, and maybe some riots and some protests. Protesting against.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like to show that it's more than just a group of 10 folk and a ginger lassie. Do you know what I mean? Because that's all it looked like. Do you know what I mean? Like they kept on saying that this world cause and all that, and they didn't show it at all.
I just like that you're continuously shitting on this little ginger lassie.
Listen, she's fine, and she's a fine actress. It's got nothing to do with her. It's just her character is balls. Like,
yeah. She plays Enfys Nest in Solo: A Star Wars Story, which is basically the exact same character as this.
She does. I'm not hating on her as an actor. Her character is terrible.
She's a very good actor.
Yeah.
But her character...
I have no problem with her. It's just purely the writing of that.
Yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying.
We should address on that. There is talk, and it seems to be all but confirmed. Like this seems likely to have happened, that there was a major plot line with them involving a deadly disease that was cut.
Yeah.
Do you know about this, Sean? No.
No, I didn't hear about this.
No, you know about it? I was going to say about this.
No, I didn't hear about this.
Yeah. There was apparently going to be a plot line involving a deadly disease with them that was cut from the show last minute because they kind of decided it wouldn't be tasteful or whatever.
There's loads of reshoots as well.
And none of this is confirmed, but it's like, that would explain a lot. Yeah,
there was. Honest. I watched. I can't mind who did the video, or else I'd credit them. But it's a video on YouTube, and it showed you like they found all the bits that they reshot, because it would be like bits they added in. It would be like Sam would like turn around, and it'd be clearly dubbed audio about the Flag Smashers, added in afterwards. Like Sam would be talking to Bucky or whatever, and then he'd like turn around and he'd be like, you know, the Flag Smashers are doing this and this, and we should do this, and then they'd turn around again, and it would just be like so obviously. And there's like a scene where Bucky, when he jumps onto the back of this lorry or something, and there's like loads of tankards. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
And he's like, oh, this is the serum or whatever. Like, he doesn't say this is the serum. He's like, this must be what they're transporting. This is, so it leads you to believe that it's the serum. But she actually, the serum she carries on herself in like a pouch on her.
That's right,
So all those tankards and stuff is actually what that original plot line with the disease thing is meant to be.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's a total misdirect. Like like it's something that they just left in, but it doesn't make any sense. Like
no, totally. Like there's loads of stuff. There's like there's a whole thing involving that group's. There's this kind of like there's a character that dies essentially off screen. Like we know her name, and then we see her dying in a bed, and Carly's like really upset about this, but it's like we never got to know who that character was other than them talking about her.
It reminded me of like, you know, Friends when like Joey gets his like Dr. Drake Ramone roll back, but he just comes back as a dead guy under a tarp. It's like that actress got so shafted, man. Because she's a great actress as well, like really. I know,
totally. Like she got nothing in this, and like what's interesting is she's dying in a room full of what looks like hospital beds, and it's like, if you kind of think about that in the context of a disease plotline that was cut out, it's like, oh, that's clearly like a disease center. Like it's like she was dying of this disease, and that's why they're so kind of
distraught,
aggressive, and you know, and
makes more sense.
And it's just like I get the reasoning why you maybe wouldn't want to include that.
Yeah,
in
it's
your
a
show,
bit inappropriate.
but also it's just like if it's gonna fuck with your show's continuity that much, like there are so many scenes that feel like they've either been reshoots or there's been large sections cut out, and it does explain a lot. And it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough, you had a difficult situation to deal with. It's not an excuse. Like you can't just, you know.
It does explain the sporadicness of the story.
Yeah,
and it definitely does.
Am I wrong in saying this, right? But I saw a promo of like another villain guy with like, and he had like a thing over his head or something.
That was probably Zemo.
Yeah.
Zemo wears a purple mask at one point.
That's right.
Is that what that is? What is Zemo's purple
possibly
mask?
Yeah.
Let me look this
up.
up.
Okay, so this is another one of my problems.
Here we go.
Zemo just finds his mask in a car, and it's just like, okay, so that's his mask from the comics. Like, cool. Like he's wearing his comic book look. And then he puts it on for like an episode and then never wears it again. And it's never addressed. Like, what was the mask?
So that's what I'm saying.
Like,
right? So
because he just turns into this like mega badass for 5 minutes.
I don't even remember that being in. So that was the bit in where all the units are.
Yeah, yes. And he just puts the mask on and starts fucking murking people.
Right, so I didn't even realise that was like necessarily Zemo.
Yeah, no, that was Zemo. Yeah.
So like, I remember seeing promo. I remember seeing like a Facebook post, right, round about like halfway through the show, and it was like a picture of him wearing that like mask, and it looked like a different character to me, and it was like, oh right, like this is gonna be the big villain. It's actually gonna come up like the Power Breaker or something, because I thought the Power Breaker would like seep through. I thought, you know, you kind of have like the small villain in a show sometimes that leads you off, and then there's actually a bigger villain. Like that's kind of how I thought the show was going to go, because he kept on talking about the Power Breaker.
Yeah.
So I thought the dude in the purple mask was going to be the Power Breaker, and he was going to be the actual like big bad or whatever. But then it just turned out to be her, which is like, okay, but
I know.
I don't know. It just felt like because the Flag Smashers weren't compelling villains at all, that they knew that like it was almost a deliberate move, and there was going to be some other. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it just never happened, and I was like, all right, okay.
It's so weird because like he literally just puts on that mask for 5 minutes, and it's purely a like, oh, he wears that in the comics, so he has to wear it at some point, and it's just like it meant nothing in the show.
You see what I mean though? By like loads of, if I thought that, and I'm quite into Marvel, loads of people just watching that show be like, where'd that dude with the purple mask go? Yeah, because he wore it for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was just for that scene where he just starts killing a lot of people.
Yeah, that's it. Like it was no reason for it at all. And let's talk a little bit about Zemo, because this is one of my biggest problems with the show. They massively retconned that character for this show.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was going to say,
when he turns up in Civil War, so like Zemo is one of my favorite villains from the movies. When he turns up in Civil War, like he's one of the most interesting villains because he's just a guy.
Yeah, totally.
Like there's nothing, like he's quite smart. Like he did well in the military and things like that. But he is just a dude, and he fucking beats the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like he wins.
Yeah. He shatters the Avengers. He's literally the reason for like the last half of that cinematic universe happening.
Yeah. Like that is such a cool villain. I think Daniel Brühl is brilliant in Civil War. He's so kind of creepy and intimidating.
He's great.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then I enjoy Daniel Brühl in this, doing the kind of comedy Zemo. but suddenly he's like a baron. He's like mega rich. He's got endless resources. He has a butler that's seemingly been waiting on a plane for him for like 5 years. So
this is a weird thing with me. Like, I watched half of the show, right? Not really overly remembering that much of like Civil War and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then I went, right,
yes.
okay, before I watch any more of this, I'm gonna go watch Civil War and do all that stuff. And then I kind of realised, like, oh, okay, this is what Zemo's meant to be and all. Just, you know what I mean? You need refreshers. I watched it before
totally,
that.
Yeah.
And then when I went back to it, it was like, all right, seems like a different character. It didn't seem like the same.
Totally.
And I didn't really get the comedy thing. Like, I don't know. Sure, it's funny, but when you think about it in the context of his character, it's a bit like...
It's a bit weird.
Like, why? Like, it would have been much cooler to have him be creepy and a bit...
On the flip
totally.
side, on the flip side, when he's talking to the lassie in the orphanage, that's when I think he shines best as that character. Where it's just the way he does it.
When he's a bit sneaky and all that, he's like offering things. Yeah,
which I have to say how fucking stupid are these kids? This creepy guy in a trench coat comes over singing "Blah Blah Black Sheep" and offers them Turkish delight. That is clearly a psychopath.
Totally.
Like, stay away.
Totally.
But it was it was the way it was done. It was so in character. I was like, yes, this is what I want.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
it's so weird, and I think it's a big problem because they basically made him more like the comic version of that character, where he's this kind of baron in Sokovia, and he's goofy. I don't know if he's goofy in the comics, but yeah, like he's just a smart guy with endless resources in the comics. But in the films, they do this kind of different take on him, where he's just a guy. His family is killed, and he's pissed off.
Yeah, so making it makes no sense.
Making him suddenly this like another rich asshole, like just becomes like, well, it kind of detracts from Civil War, to be honest. Like, it retroactively spoils that film in a way. Like,
it takes away from...
because now I'll watch Civil War thinking about this guy like just being a family
dancing in the club.
You can't feel bad. You can't feel bad for a Tory. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's face it.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
yeah.
And when I say Tory, I just mean rich person.
Yeah, of course. That really bugged me, to be honest.
This is brilliant. He just casually slipped that insult in. It was brilliant.
That really bugged me, because that is like,
I've never thought
actively
about that.
Yeah, that is like actively damaging a previous film, and that is a problem. And again, like, I can't fault Daniel Brühl in this. Like he embraces this different take on the character, this kind of silly, kind of goofy version of him, and he is really funny. But I'm just like, if you're going to do that, I wish that they just made a different character. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. Like, that really annoyed me, to be honest.
Here's another quick question. I've just remembered at the end of the last episode, you see Zemo in the, what's the name of the prison again?
It's called the Raft.
The Raft.
The ocean
Raft.
prison.
Yeah.
So there's a moment where all the last of the Flag Smashers are getting loaded into the car, and then there's an old man sitting on the bridge in a black car who I think blows up the thing with all the Flag Smashers in it.
Yep.
Who is he, and why does it go to Zemo? Is it with him smiling?
I got to say, I was a little lost by this as well, because you've not seen that old man is his butler, who appears in episode 2 of the show.
Right. Okay.
And I got to admit, like, I did remember, but I was sitting there going, "Who the fuck is that guy? Like what the hell?" So the point that that's making. The point that that's making is that Zemo from prison has organized for these super soldiers to be killed, because he's anti-super soldier, and like, that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Again, shown to us in a way that's really confusing.
Yeah. Because I had no idea.
So all the Flag Smashers were killed.
I think Carly.
All but one.
No. Carly is killed.
All but one, because there's one that fell in the river.
I think he's dead as well. It's implied, isn't it?
It's possible. This may be open enough that he could come back. But yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Please don't come back. Don't. I just don't want. I
don't want more Flag Smashers.
I really want the Flag Smashers to just end. It's just so bad. Honestly, see if Cap 4 comes on and it's like Flag Smashers are back, I'm gonna walk at the fucking cinema, man. I swear to God, I'm not even joking.
Oh no.
Like, oh man, it's really, really frustrating. And then possibly my biggest problem, which I think is like, this is a problem with just like the entirety of the show. Like, the structure of the show is off because. So Isaiah Bradley, which we talked about earlier on, like a really, really interesting character, basically is revealed that the government tried to make another Captain America in the 50s and it didn't work.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting idea.
I don't even remember them saying that. They tried to make him Captain America.
Yeah,
they basically so like in the comic, him and a bunch of other people were experimented on with super soldier serum. Yeah. Like an American adaptation of the serum that is used by, I can't remember the guy's name, the German scientist in the first Avenger, played by the Tucci, Stanley Tucci himself. Yeah. But so so in the 50s they tried to do an alternate version of that, and they created their own super soldiers, and most of them died off. And it's like Bucky talks about how him and that guy fought in the 50s.
Yeah, no, I know that. But did they try and make him Captain America though? Like, did they actually?
I don't know if it's. I knew
he was a super soldier and all that. I knew all that, but I didn't.
Yeah. In the comic version, they're basically trying to make another Captain America. In this, it's not specified that they're making another Captain America specifically, but
I think it's just super soldier rather than actually being Captain America.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'd love to see? Right, what would be really funny? Right, if Sam got so he turns up to Isaiah in the captain of his new cap suit, right, and goes, "Hey, I'm Captain America now," and he goes, "All right, you're Captain America now. That means I can be Captain America." Boof! I'm the super, because he's still got the super serum, and then we've just got this old dude in the Cap costume.
Hell yeah,
that would be class.
Yeah, I'd like.
That would be cool as fuck, actually.
Because you could probably still knock him the fuck out because he's still got the super soldier serum. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's not. I don't know if it's as strictly like direct as they were trying to make another Captain America, but the American government was trying to make their own line of super soldiers in the 50s. Right.
There was a lot
and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. Is the thing. Mm-hmm. So like he fights Buffy. He fights Bucky, and tears off his arm, and that's the reason Bucky has the metal arm. And
he took off his arm.
Yeah. Said very briefly in the second episode.
You learned more about the show from you than I did from the actual show.
I was gonna say that's kind of a big point to only have one sentence about it.
Yes, this is the thing. That's quite cool. I don't remember that at all.
Same.
I remember when they were talking about like, wow, that's a really cool idea. Can we see it, please? Like, just like
show us them kicking the shit out of each other.
Badass seeing a big like dude just rip off Bucky's arm. That'd be class.
The number one rule of TV, of like movie and TV storytelling is show don't tell. And this entire show just tells constantly.
Yeah.
And like again with the Flag Smashers, all it would have taken is a scene showing them during the time, like how the world was before all this, or showing like the chaos after it, like one of the best scenes in WandaVision where we see the blip from another angle.
Yeah, they didn't show any
like nothing, and it's just like we would have so much more emotional attachment to this stuff.
So cool to see some like Isaiah Bradley flashbacks of maybe him getting experimented on, or like being in prison, or like just kicking ass. Do you know what I mean? Like that'd be like with Cap. How cool would that have been?
I just, man. And then like there's so many moments where I'm just like, I would have so much more emotional attachment to this if I could just see some of it instead of someone just telling me as quickly as possible.
They literally it's almost like they literally went, right, we couldn't afford that, but at the end of the series, right, we're going to get him in a museum and you're going to see some pictures, okay? Like, that's literally what they did.
That's the best we can do.
That's literally what they did, right? We're going to show you some pictures.
Yeah, this is the best we can do.
There's not even pictures of him, it's just the statue as well. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. There is a couple of pictures of him, I think. But
it's possible, I can't remember, but like it's
nothing clear or specific. Yeah.
No, and it's just like, and it's such a shame because like I said earlier, Carl Lumbly is great as that character.
Oh yeah,
and there is possibly the best scene in the show is in episode 5, which is a conversation that him and Sam have, where there's a great line where he says, they will never let a black man be Captain America, and no self-respecting black man would want to be.
Yeah, totally.
And I just remember it's hearing that line and just being like, that's a really bold, interesting line for the MCU to do.
Yeah.
Why is that not the setup of it? Like, that should have been in episode 2. Like early in the show, that should be the debate in Sam's head for the entire show.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he goes from that conversation to being Captain America in the same 20-minute stretch. Like,
All he does
no debate.
All he does between that time is he talks to Bucky and trains. That is it.
Yeah.
Nothing else happens where like you don't see like any internal struggle. He's just kind of thinking about it. You don't really see him actually debate it.
Yeah,
I like
that should be the show.
Yeah, that should have been the whole show.
Could we just talk about how like Falcon became an Avenger because he decided to go out on a jog one morning?
Yeah, but it's like this is the thing is that I love that character.
On your left.
Like on your left, like look at the arc that character has been on.
I like that, by the way.
I
like that. I don't think that's bad writing. I enjoy that.
No, absolutely. Like that. I think that's such a cool thing that this character, this guy, he was like a sort of counselor for like soldiers with PTSD.
Yeah, great.
And he's on your left and all that stuff. And then the arc from there to being Captain America, that is such a fascinating thing.
Yeah. I like how wise they made him in like a lot of these movies and stuff.
He's more of a talker than like I know he does a lot of like big action scenes, but the one scene that stands out to me from this show is when he's talking to Carly at her mother's funeral.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. Yeah.
That scene is the most powerful thing in that whole series because
I do think he's the right character to be Captain America. Like I don't think it'd be good for Bucky to be Captain America.
No, absolutely, yeah.
I agree with that.
Oh man, and I'm getting angry.
Let your rage out.
Let's get that audio segment of you doing that, post it on the page and just be like, this is what the whole show is summed up as. I don't know. That's what this show is.
I don't know, man.
Yes, clip that shit.
Yeah, that might have to be the clip. Hello, if you're watching this on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like it really bugged me because like I say, like that debate is what like there's so many times where the show kind of pushes for that kind of idea, like talking about like what it would be like to be a black man in this situation. Like that's a really interesting topic for discussion, and the show clearly wants you to think it's having that conversation, but never really commits to it.
It doesn't get there.
It suffers. It suffers from Disney playing it safe. Yeah. Disney always try and play it safe. Like they'll give you a tiny bit of it and then go, no, you can't have that anymore.
Yeah, like it's just man, and it had some interesting moments, like the moment where like when they first go and see Isaiah Bradley and they come out of the house and the police turn up and think that Sam's like bugging Bucky.
Yeah.
And like that's a really interesting thing. He's like I'm a fucking Avenger. Like leave me alone, you know?
Yeah,
and like
totally.
And then it ends up that Bucky's the one that's taken away because he's the unstable one, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, another thing that's annoying me, right? So end credits, right? We've got Captain America and the Winter Soldier, right? So we've got So we've got Falcon redeeming himself as Captain America, but big old Bucky, who's spent the whole fucking series ticking names off his lists and trying to redeem himself, at the end of the day, sorry, we've not spent, and Marvel is saying, we've not spent enough time saying to the audience that he's going to be the White Wolf, so our branding means that he's going to stay the Winter Soldier. That fucks me right on.
I know.
Why?
I know.
So he's just the Winter Soldier now forever. This
he should have been
Russian
the White Wolf,
fascist terrorist that you just
Captain America anymore. And the White Wolf. How fucking cool does that sound to say?
Why didn't they do that?
It's such a missed opportunity. Like I remember, like halfway through the show, being like, "Oh, that like I bet they do that at the end. Like that'd be a really cool thing."
They should have done
it literally comes up one letter at a time. I was like, "Oh, they're doing it." oh, they've not done it.
I know, and it gets to the W. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, yes! And it's like, it's so grim.
That irks me so much because the Winter Soldier is the villain. The villainous version of Bucky, and then White Wolf is like his.
They mentioned White Wolf in like Black Panther. Like I watched that recently. Yeah. They were like, he's the White Wolf. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. They call him that in the show as well. Like it comes up. You know. Oh my god.
that irks me so much because it's like Bucky did have a redemption arc in this series.
I know.
Where he goes through the book crossing everyone's name off.
Yeah.
He finishes the book. They should have finished it by giving him the title.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man. Oh. Right, a couple more scenes that really annoyed me. Let's keep this anger train going. John, you got something? Sorry,
I was gonna. I've got a big ending thing because there's one thing that we haven't addressed yet that I know we all fucking hated. Well,
okay.
I'll leave it to last.
Right, so the therapy scenes in the first 2 episodes. Didn't mind the first one. That was fine. It was quite fun, and I quite liked her just being like, "Yeah, that's bullshit." And Bucky replying with, "You're a terrible therapist." That's a funny line, but
that was good. I like that.
That's a funny line. The scene in episode 2 though, when Bucky's been arrested, and they like because of reasons they end up in a therapy session together, and it goes from them like not talking to each other in that scene to Bucky saying, if he's wrong about you, then that means he's wrong about me. In about 15 seconds. Like it just like that feels like that's a conversation that should have lasted a good few minutes, and it like that is like an emotional moment that's like wrenched out of him.
Yeah,
you know, because he's so closed off. And,
you could absolutely have had Bucky just kind of going on this spiel of like, oh, you like just stuff about the Shield and Captain America and how he was basically Cap's best friend until Sam, and then him going, well, yeah, ending with that line would have been fucking brilliant. You could have got a great speech out of him there.
Yeah. Like it maybe being a little bit cliched. Like there's a lot of scenes where that happens, where someone is kind of has the truth kind of wrenched out of them when they didn't know it was in there. But like it literally felt like they got the start of the conversation and the end of the conversation, and then cut out about 10 minutes in the middle.
Yeah, they probably did.
There's a lot of fluff just cut.
Yeah,
maybe too much talk about this deadly disease.
The whole like joined together knee thing, eye staring competition, but
that was just weird.
I think that was just for the comedy of these two kind of like alpha dog characters, just like having to kind of be emotional with each other. But like, yeah, I didn't mind that so much. But it just that's a less kind of made me angry scene. But it was just a bit like, that's weird. That's a scene that should have had a lot more to it. But speaking of scenes that should have had a lot more to it, the final episode, when Bucky goes back to Yuri, the guy whose son he killed.
Yeah.
And we see him killing him in the first episode. And he turns up and he goes, "Hi, your son was murdered." And, oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Like when they found him, they had a big bullet hole in his head. But I guess, you know, like that doesn't necessarily mean he was murdered. Your son was murdered by the Winter Soldier, and that's me, and that's the entire scene. Like that is so clunky.
Not only that, 2 minutes later he walks by the bar and he's sitting there sipping on some wine, perfectly fine, no bother, absolutely content that his son was killed by a dude that tried to befriend him.
I know, like, oh my god! And also, he explains it really badly. It's like I'm
sure so clunky.
I don't even think he says the Winter Soldier. That's me. I think he literally just saes by the Winter Soldier.
No, he
does say that was me, but which
it's
just like
so clunky and so awkward.
It's so like, and it made me think of, there's a scene in one of the Bourne movies. I really like at least the first 3 Jason Bourne movies, and there is a scene in those films where he goes to the house of the daughter of one of his victims, and kind of just confesses to her, and is like, "Look, I killed your mom and your dad," and it's like a really, like, Matt Damon is brilliant in that scene. It's really well played. There's no music. It's just he's just kind of saying this, and this woman kind of like having to deal with that for the first time, like finding out that her parents didn't kill each other, and like and it's this really heavy emotional scene, and it lasts a good few minutes. And I was like, this is the same scene.
Yeah.
This is a brainwashed spy assassin confessing to the family members of one of his victims.
Yeah.
And in this, we get 10 seconds of it, and then it just moves on. And it's like...
It's so clunky.
One thing with the Winter Soldier thing that I don't get, like, Bucky says that, like, he remembers everything. You know what I mean? But then sometimes he doesn't. Like, I don't know, like, how... Like, how brainwashed was he? Like...
It would be a PTSD thing.
Like, I know he was
afterwards.
brainwashed in all his movements and stuff, but does he remember? Like, he says he remembers doing everything, like he did it. So I don't know. It's just a bit weird.
I think he's like he's reasonably present in these moments. It's just like he doesn't have control over the actions. Like he's kind of like
it's like
can't stop himself.
It's like being in a car and not being the driver.
Yeah,
It's like you're watching everything happen, but you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, but you're right though, because like he does like he doesn't remember Steve when he first meets him. Like he kind of vaguely like recognize this guy, but like
it's a bit of a weird ground. Like it's kind of they use it when they want, and because
I think the idea is that they wipe his memory in between, but then why would he remember his victims?
That's what I thought.
Case? But like,
I thought his memories got wiped. So I thought when he returned to being Bucky, it was just like he's a different person. Like, so that's why I don't know. It's just a bit like, because he literally says, I remember every single one of my victims. He says that.
Maybe what they're trying to say is that it's now coming back to him. Like now he's kind of snapped out of it. Like it's kind of starting to come back. But like, I don't know. Like, again,
it's like 100 years worth though. Like I don't have my brain capacity for that, man. Like,
see, my first thought was it was a sort of PTSD thing where he is remembering it, but he's trying to push it down. He's trying to forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then obviously with the therapy sessions, it's like, here's some trauma.
Here's some trauma. Yeah. Oh man, I feel like we should try and find another positive. We've been talking about. I don't like being this negative for something this long. Like there is good shit in the show.
Yeah.
I have a good positive and a good negative. They kind of in one. Yeah. Can we talk about Sam's suit for a second?
Yes, that's exactly what I knew you were going to say.
Let's go. Let's have at it.
Okay.
Start with the negatives so then we can transition into the positive.
Fair enough.
Start with the negatives, right? It's fucking terrible, right? Next.
The headpiece is the worst part of the suit. The rest of it.
The fucking headpiece.
The headpiece is so dumb. Like it makes no like the guy flies around with wings. So like first of all, like let alone the fact that his head would be fucking freezing.
Yeah.
Like, the top of his head is getting brain freeze constantly.
No, Jake, you misunderstand. He's meant to have a cool head in these situations.
Next thing you see, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, he's just got like a wee fucking cap on, man, on the top.
It's so stupid, and also like he like flies like at people head first who are shooting at him. Why does he not have a helmet on? Like.
Here's another point. See when he's flying and he's like horizontal, he has no peripheral vision in those fucking goggles.
You are so right.
It annoys the shit out of me.
That is terrifying. He flies full head into bullets. See if I was a villain, I would literally just aim a rifle just at his fucking noggin, man. Boom. There you go.
It makes no sense, and it's one of those things like so like if you don't know. Like Google like Sam Wilson Captain America suit from the comics because like it's basically directly lifted from the comics. Like it's pretty much.
See when you directly lift things from comics, it never works. It just never translates. There's a reason why they didn't have Wolverine and a full yellow and black jumpsuit. Headpiece and all. Headpieces don't work in live action. They just look terrible.
It's like this is the thing. It's directly lifted, and it's one of those things in comic world. Everything's heightened, everything's a bit silly, so like it's fine.
It's a cartoon.
Like, it makes sense in that situation. Lifting it to live action, it suddenly becomes really clear that he just has his fucking cranium exposed, and like it's just like it's just this big dome coming out of the top, and like Oh my god. Yeah, and like this is the thing, is that you look back at Captain America's costume.
Yeah.
Obviously he's wearing a stylized thing. It was kind of designed as a propaganda kind of message thing, this kind of patriotic thing. But also it's literally tactical military gear. Like it's designed to be bulletproof. He's wearing a helmet to protect his head. This should be the same thing.
And even when he doesn't wear a
Yeah.
helmet, right? Even when he doesn't wear a helmet, which he doesn't sometimes, right? Then it's like he's not flying about.
No. No. Oh my god, man. That really bugged me.
It was like the show was being kind of dramatic and doing the things, and it's like when you're trying to invest yourself into believing that these superheroes are real, and then when there's just a moment like that and it's just so campy and it's just like, this like I am watching a superhero TV show right now. Like, do you know what I mean? You just realize what you're watching. It's a bit like, I hate it when there's moments that take you out of the program. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's, oh man. And the thing as well is, like, transitioning into positives for a second, is that like, I think that one thing is what makes the whole suit look dumb.
Absolutely.
Like,
it's the ear
The rest of the suit.
They're just like, like, come on, his ears are exposed. Are they not?
Like,
no, his ears are covered, so maybe he doesn't hear it now. Oh my,
yeah.
Maybe he's got
The
a wee
rest
bit.
of
He
the
could just
suit-
stash some Skittles or something. Just wee snacks. It's a wee snack pouch.
Oh
below
my
his ears.
god, man. But the rest
Oh my
of the
God.
suit looks fucking class.
I think like this is the thing. Like from the neck down, the suit is badass. Like it looks really cool. Like
The
if they
wings,
just
oh.
gave him, the wings are really cool. Like if they just gave him a more Captain America style helmet, it would be fine. You know,
Yeah.
it would look cool.
What if this is just like the like Wakandans just like fucking with him?
Like, there's no chance he's
they're
gonna
just
wear
like
this
that.
helmet.
They're just like that, right? Okay, we'll do the suit and all that, and then they're just like, you know what? Let's just add in some ear flaps and see if he'll wear it. Do you know what I mean?
Okoye's just off to the side. Like, he tried to hit me in that room. Can you make his suit look a bit shit?
Oh man, it just bugged the fuck out of me, man. Like
Can we also talk about John Walker's like homemade shield as well? Like how interesting that was.
That was kind of funny, to be fair. It was literally a dustbin cap. Like,
yeah, like I don't mind that so much. Like it is silly, but like I kind of like the idea that this guy who's like fucking losing it is just like he's just pulling together what he can and going back into the fight, and you know like,
That does lead to a really interesting kind of moment when the shield is destroyed, because you see him in his face. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not Captain America."
yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, oh man, like I again, John Walker is the best part of the show for me.
Absolutely.
Like that
He's a
plot line really worked. Even then, I think there's stuff being cut. I think the episodes, like when Sam is talking to Carly at the funeral and he's like told them to wait outside, and he's like, "You've got 10 minutes." And like, I really like that scene. I really like the way it kind of escalates. But there's a moment when John Walker's standing outside waiting, and he's like sweating and he's shaking and things like that. And I kind of like, has there been like a drug plotline cut from this where he's like got an addiction? Like he's actually like fucking tweaking in that scene. You know, like he's.
You know
like,
that scene does not make sense when you think about it. Like he shouldn't be physically sweating. He's a highly trained military man.
Exactly.
He shouldn't be like shitting himself over a wee ginger lassie.
do you know what would make this better, right? This show. See if they made it more like Mando, right? Where it wasn't one overarching like villain plot line with the flag smashers. Just like patch that completely and just have like each episode be like different missions, and have the whole like thing with like Bucky and Sam wanting to be Captain America kind of go on through that. Like, I don't know, I think that would have made it even that would have made it better.
Possibly, yeah. That's that for me is the big thing. Like John Walker should be the main villain. I don't mind the Flag Smashers being there as the side villain.
Yeah, exactly.
The
John Walker should have been developed to be the main bad. Absolutely.
Yeah, like the major minor threat thing.
We should have saw at the end of this thing US agent up against them, rather than like
that would have been way so much better.
Rather than just like him standing in an empty hall with his US agent suit on, going, "Yeah, I'm the US agent. Yeah, because that's literally all they did. It's like, come on,
Because if it was John Walker in Captain America, well, Sam's Captain America, you could totally push that as a weird agenda as well. Like he's like, oh yeah, I'm the righteous big dude.
Yeah.
Like,
well, again, as well as like just in terms of the race thing, which they touch on but don't ever really go into. Like, it's such an interesting idea that they were like, Steve Rogers picked a black man to be Captain America, and he doesn't care. He's just like, you are the right man for the job. And then Sam decides through his own decision to not do it, and the American government just give it to some white guy.
I know.
Like that's a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
And again, it's just never really discussed, and it's just, oh my god,
it's there, but it's so underneath everything else that you're like,
yeah.
You got any other points to make?
I think we should rate
another chat.
There was another thing. Shit, what was I going to say? Fuck, I can't remember now. Shit.
I'm trying to think if I've got anything else as well while you're remembering your thing.
I should say that the what's the main lassie in the Dora Milaje? She's class on this. She's really good.
Oh yeah,
how she just deactivates Bucky's arm. It's like amazing.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Is that not Okoye from Black Panther?
She's in Black Panther.
She's in Black Panther.
I can't remember.
It's not the main lassie. No, there's a few. There's a few.
I think she's like second in command.
Yeah, we'll
like
check.
There's
because I'm very curious.
They're called the Dora Milaje. That
Dora
group
Milaje,
kind of warriors. Yeah. Yes, or Dora the Explorer Milaje, as I called them for a while.
No.
I like that. You know, I've been talked about them. Like I liked their inclusion in the show. I think that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I think the scene where you saw
it's
Bucky
Io,
kinda,
by the way. I've looked it up on IMDb.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I think the scene where you saw Bucky finally kind of be trained so that the trigger words don't affect him anymore. That's a great
amazing.
Scene.
That's such a good scene.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's again a perfect example of what the show should be doing this entire time, which is show don't tell. Because like if we'd just been told,
more of that, man,
the words don't trigger him anymore, you know.
Yeah. I know it's budget, man. It's budget.
That's the thing I was going to say. Like this is the first Disney Plus MCU or Star Wars show where the fact that it's a TV show and it's on a TV show budget shows for
Definitely.
me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Feels like a TV show on a smaller scale rather than a movie. Yeah.
I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna comparing it to WandaVision. WandaVision sort of takes its low budget and kind of works around it.
Yeah, where it's all basically set in one location, and it kind of makes that work.
Yeah.
This, like, how many fucking there's this one room in the US Senate is used for so many things.
Yeah.
Or
that one warehouse as well.
Well, every fight takes place in an abandoned warehouse.
It's the same warehouse, isn't it?
It's probably the same warehouse.
The US Senate, like the John Walker has his hearing there. Sharon Carter gets her pardon there. John Walker tries on his US agent suit.
Yeah, exactly.
In there for some reason.
In the lobby, I know.
It's clearly just like, okay, we have access to this room for like 2 days, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus could only be here for an hour, so let's just film it all in one time and get out of the way, you know. Oh my god.
The whole Shannon Carter stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot her name already.
She's the MCU's blandest character.
She really is. I don't like that character at all. And the fact that now she's a baddie, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
what the fuck is going on with her character?
I don't know, man.
Have you noticed,
they set up for her wanting the pardon and like that she's not seen her family in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm the power breaker. Okay, I'm going to be in the Senate and I'm going to take control of all the weapons. It's like, it's like Kamet Obadiah Stane. Like, do you know what I mean?
Like, I gotta give it,
nice.
like, give it credit. they give credit for one thing. They took what I do genuinely think is the most least interesting character in the MCU, like a really boring character, and made her interesting. Like she got a cool fight scene in the kind of like the shipping containers and stuff. Like they did make her more interesting, but it got to the power broker thing, and I was just a bit like, I don't care. Like so.
I kind of don't like the fact that they've made like Peggy's daughter a bad person.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That doesn't feel right. In a Captain America TV show.
I was
like,
do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
There's a very interesting kind of like dynamic there as well.
Maybe it's because Cap's gone and she's.
Yeah, it seems like once Cap died, all the shit is happening at once. That's
what I'm saying. This is stuff that should have been explained. Like they could have had a scene that it's like, I don't know.
Why
like
is she evil? Why is she selling the shit?
Sam finds out or something, and then she's like, you know, when Cap left, and I couldn't. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Like
there is an idea there. Again, it's the Disney thing of here's a little bit, and we'll take it away now.
Yeah, I've seen some theories that she's a Skrull now, which would explain the total shift in the character. Which fine, whatever, but like.
This person's a Skrull.
I saw a video on that, and there was things explaining why she can't be. I think because there's a scene where she uses the same technology of face switching as Black Widow. So it's like, why would she need to do that if she was a Skrull?
That's a good point, actually. Yeah,
you know that kind of that thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and there's also an element of like, if she was a Skrull, why would the Skrull disguise herself as a woman that's on the run from the US government?
And if she is a Skrull, show it. It would be cool, and it would add in the invasion plot line a little bit more.
This is the thing,
and then they've only teased it a tiny bit. People are going to forget. Like the Skrulls. I mean, Captain Marvel's like my least favorite movie from Marvel. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I barely remember it.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's been confirmed. Like a Secret Invasion TV show is on the way, so they are building up a thing with the Skrulls for sure. But like,
they're not.
It's just
they're gonna do it with the.
They kind of are. They kind of are.
Kind of. Yeah, I guess.
No, I don't want to.
No. Right. Two last things, slightly less negative.
Okay.
This is a bit more about kind of where this is all going.
Yes.
So this is a kind of like an interesting thing. So we talked about with WandaVision, like the Darkhold, the book that kind of became a big thing in the last couple of episodes of WandaVision.
Yeah.
That was, that's called the Darkhold. That's a thing from the comics, and that is something that turned up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but in a completely different form. And we talked about this as like, is that the start of them kind of starting to decanonize Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the other the old shows and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have had confirmation recently that, well, not confirmation, but it seems that Charlie Cox and John Bernthal and all the people in the Netflix shows are going to be brought into the MCU movies, but as a slightly rebooted versions of those characters, like not quite the same as the Netflix versions, things like that.
Okay.
So we talked about, the Darkhold appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but very, very different. So that might be an indication of that happening. We've had another example of that in this, which is the Power Broker has also turned up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, really?
But it's like an old man, not Sharon Carter.
Interesting.
And so again, it's just another sign of just like, are they finally kind of like saying,
obviously,
these shows don't count anymore, you know?
How long will it be before this one doesn't count? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Disney just retcons everything.
I know. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that, but just an interesting thing. They do seem to be moving in that direction, which is interesting. I mean, I suppose the Power Broker could be a thing that gets, like she's the new power. Like there could have been a couple of different ones of them. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
It could be a title that's passed down. Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing I wanted to talk about is the possibility of a Young Avengers movie or TV show coming at some point, because in recent years we've had setups for at least 4 kid-aged superheroes. So going back to the first one, in Spider-Man Homecoming, we have an appearance from Childish Gambino himself, Donald Glover, playing, I've completely forgotten the character's name, but something Morales. And he mentions his nephew
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. So there is a setup in the MCU already for Miles Morales, who, if you don't know, is an alternate version of Spider-Man in some of the comics.
You mean the cooler Spider-Man?
he's pretty cool. Turning up in the MCU. So we've had that. In WandaVision, we have her kids, who are obviously Speed and Wiccan. They are their own superheroes in their own right. And now in this, Isaiah Bradley's grandson is also a superhero in the comics. I mean, he appears in the show a couple times. And so we've had the groundwork in the last few years.
Can the serum be passed down?
That is a good question.
I would not be surprised if that happens. Like an interesting idea. So my point being, in the last few years, it seemed to have had the hints of several young superheroes. So I'm wondering if we're heading in a Young Avengers direction eventually, which could be interesting. There's also we know that a Miss Marvel TV show is coming as well, which is it's just a young kid's age superhero as well.
Which version of Miss Marvel have they said? Is it going to be like Kamala's version?
Yes, that version. Yeah.
Hey, I love Kamala. She's basically a super nerd. It's great.
Yeah, like a really interesting character in the comics, where she's just basically a fan of superheroes and then becomes her own superhero.
That's basically the plot to the Avengers game as well, by the way.
Yes. Yeah.
So do you think that they would brand it as the new like the Young Avengers, or do you think they would just brand it as like another Avengers movie, and then they are just Young the Avengers that we grew up with, kind of thing? Because that could be
possibly
cool.
Young Avengers, I think they'd probably call it. Makes more sense.
We have had Young Avengers in the comics. There's also things like West Coast Avengers and things like that. But
I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. So I don't know. It could be nothing. Could be just a red herring. But
that's cool.
An interesting. Maybe we should wrap up there because Alec is slowly falling asleep as we talk about it.
Right.
Yes. So there's our slightly angry thoughts.
Yes.
on Captain America and the Winter Soldier apparently.
Yes.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to say something really interesting. I did not have a score going into this review.
No, neither did
I have now got one.
Yeah.
I will decide 3 seconds before you ask me.
I usually have it before we start, because I'm like, right, this is the score I'm going to give it, and then I'm going to give my explanations as to why I think that is. Yeah. But this one, I sort of like, I want to discuss it first and then give it a score.
I want to hear your guys' score first. That's what I want to.
Okay.
I think Jake should go first for this one.
Yeah, let's have Jake go
fucking
first.
Hell. Right,
Jake never goes first.
So,
because Jake made a prediction before we started recording that I would give it the highest score, you would give it the lowest, and he would give it the middle score.
Interesting. I've got a number in my head.
I've got a number too. Right.
Okay,
go, Jake.
Right. So I'm probably saying, and this score may not reflect how I've ranted about the show for the last hour because.
Hang on, 1 minute. What did we score WandaVision?
That is a good question.
Up here, we scored WandaVision. I gave it 9.6. You gave it 9.5. Sean gave it 9.5. So overall, it was a 9.5 average. It was like really fucking high.
Yeah. Okay. You may continue. You may continue.
So, I'm probably gonna say I'm somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7.
Ooh.
Okay.
Which, like I say, maybe doesn't reflect my ranting for the last hour. Because there are, I think the good stuff about the show really shines through.
That was higher than I thought you would give it.
Yeah, like it's not like WandaVision that was consistently great with a couple little wobbles. It's a show that dips and dives and rises up, and like these peaks are incredible, but its low points are really low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those peaks for me kind of save it. I'm going to say a 6.6.
Okay,
6.7.
Okay, I'm giving it a solid 6.
6?
Okay, that's higher than I thought you were going to say.
That is a lot higher than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Why
again?
6?
It's as I wouldn't want to give it any less because I mean the production value is like pretty good. Like I mean I did enjoy a lot of it, but I think it just doesn't deserve like anything higher than that. I don't think it's just the story. I think I enjoyed it more than I probably didn't enjoy it. I mean, I didn't like leave an episode angry or anything. I just kind of it was more of a meh kind of thing. I think 6 is a good meh kind of score. Like it's okay. Do you know what I mean?
I'm actually, as I'm saying here, I think I might make mine a 7, to be honest. Like I'm kind of
But Jake,
reevaluating.
they called it Captain America and the Winter Soldier at the end.
2.
Zero.
They ruined the 0. 1.
I know. There's so much that really bugs me, but I did have fun watching. I did enjoy my time.
Thinking about that one thing makes me want to half my score. I'm not going to lie. But.
I know. Like just out of spite. Right, Sean, what about you?
I am going to give it a 6 as well.
A 6? Oh, okay. I was wrong. Interesting. Okay.
See, I was originally thinking, like, again, when I was doing this score, I was going to give it a score and then explain why I thought that. My original idea was going to be 5.5.
Yeah.
And then I was like, do you know what? The moments that are good are fucking class.
Yeah, there is good comedy moments. I think so what saved it for me is the Hobbit line has saved it.
I do like the Hobbit line.
The Hobbit line's pretty good.
The scene that saved it for me was the one where Sam's talking to Bucky about forgiving himself and stuff like that for what he did as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
That is peak. That's where I was like, yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 4 points that I've taken off is for like the fact this flag smashers and all that.
Are you sure it's not just the ear flaps?
Yeah, what? So it's like we've got to decide each point is for a reason. It's like the flag.
All 4 points for this.
See, if I added up everything and took it as a point, it would have a minus score probably. So I'm being totally generous, but yeah, I'll give it a 6.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? When you said one of the points is for the flag smashers, for a good 20 minutes there, I'd kind of forgotten they existed until you mentioned them and was like, "Oh yeah, that's a bad point," you know. You know.
Sorry, can I bump my score down to 5.5? No, 6 is fine.
I'm happy with what we've scored that. So I've just worked out the average there. The average for that is 6.3, which means
that's fair.
The Salt River Movie Club score for this show is 6.3.
That looks like a bad enough score. You know what I mean?
Is that our lowest rated thing? No, it can't be.
No, our lowest is, hold on, Godzilla 1998, which is a 5.3.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's so close.
Come on, though. Like, let's compare it to WandaVision. Like, if you made WandaVision a movie, right? It would, even though it's like lower budget and stuff set in one location, it would be a great movie, I think.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
Whereas if you made this a movie, it would be a calamity. Because if it can't explain itself in 7 episodes, with each episode being 50 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever, then you've got no hope in a movie, do you? I mean,
I know.
It'd probably feel like how the Suicide Squad was edited together if you tried to make that in a movie, like the original Suicide Squad.
Yeah, totally.
It was like pure fast and daft.
Yeah. And that, a last thing that's kind of worth talking about on that is just like you kind of mentioned earlier, like this shouldn't exist, and it's just like if you think it through,
this whole show,
it shouldn't. Like this,
if you take them out, you wouldn't miss them.
It doesn't need to exist.
This is the thing,
I know.
If you think it through, like Endgame ends with Sam being handed the shield and kind of reluctantly accepting it, but he's gonna become Captain America, and Bucky is kind of redeemed himself and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You get to the end of the show is Sam has reluctantly accepted the mantle of Captain America and Bucky's redeemed himself. Like, you could literally lift it out and no one would notice.
I know. It's so
I never thought of that, actually. Holy shit.
They've literally spent They've literally spent millions to figure out that white is white and black is... You know what I mean? They've just
I know.
figured out anything.
It's maybe slightly unfair. Like, there is set up for things in this, like John Walker and things like that. I'm glad he's here now. I'm glad that he will probably turn up in something else. But if you are someone that isn't bothering...
Yeah, you could introduce him in the Cat movie.
Exactly, yeah. Like, if you're someone that just isn't bothering with the shows, if you're just kind of casually watching the movies and you skip this show, you literally would not have missed anything that important.
Yeah.
And that's a real shame.
Yeah.
And, like, you could possibly argue the same thing with WandaVision. Like, still ends with her kind of upset and looking for Vision. But the difference is we've learned so much about those characters now in that time, and like
they're highly developed.
Yeah, I don't feel like we've got anything in this show that we couldn't have gotten somewhere else, you know, and that is a shame.
I'm awaiting all the hate comments we're gonna get for this.
Studio literally spent
You're not real Marvel fans.
literally spent millions to arrive at the same conclusion they did a movie ago. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's just put it all into perspective for me.
Oh, I kind of want to give it. Kind of want to give it a
overall.
Kind of want to bump my score down a bit. 4.2.
Overall, I'm glad it exists. I had a good time with it, and I do feel like I know these characters better to some extent. But it is also entirely inessential. And that is a real shame.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. I'm a little bit angry.
Oh no, that makes it worse when you say you're disappointed.
Yeah, like did we need to know these characters better? Did we?
I feel
how
like
many movies did we have with Falcon? How many movies did we have with Bucky? Did we need an extra TV show?
I do feel like we needed a bit more of Bucky. I think he's a character that
you don't know much. Even from watching,
he only gets.
He never speaks that much, does he?
No.
Even from watching the first Captain America movie, you still don't really know Bucky that well.
No, like when he dies in the first Avenger, it doesn't have that much impact because you really don't know the character that well.
Until you go back and watch it after you've watched all the other stuff, you're like, oh, that's
like now when I watch First Avenger, that moment hits quite hard, but it just, I don't know. Well, that is our thoughts on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I speak quite fast, so for this entire process, I kept calling it fucking the Winter Soldier.
Fucking Winter.
We've lovingly nicknamed it Foss.
Maybe we've been calling it Foss, yeah.
Foss.
Yeah. That is our thoughts on Foss. If you liked this show, I'm really sorry because we've just sat on it for an hour and 37 minutes. But
we apologise.
Too late. God, has actually been that long. My God, it has been that long.
Yeah, it is not a bad show. It's just
Are you sure, Jake?
Very, very flawed show. And it is definitely the worst of the kind of Star Wars or Marvel stuff that
change the
Disney Plus have
nickname
done.
from Foz to Flaws.
Oh man, this might be the angriest and most heated I've ever gone in one of these episodes.
Definitely.
I can't wait for. We've got some ideas coming. I can't wait to see you watch a certain series of movies.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I can't wait.
Oh my God! Right, okay. So let's chill out.
Wrapping up.
Let's take a breath. We're wrapping up. Those are our thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier. Thank you for listening to this. If you agree with us, which I know a lot of people feel the same way, please let us know. Please get in touch. And if you don't agree with us, I would love to know your thoughts. If this show really worked for you, please genuinely, I want to hear your thoughts on this and why it worked.
Convince us it's a good show.
Yeah, it is a good show. It's just not a great show. Please, no, genuinely, please do get in touch. I want to hear people's takes on this because it's been quite a divisive show overall. So yes, thank you for listening. You can, if you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed this, you can rate us. You can, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can do it in app. I believe you can rate us on other podcast services as well, but that's the only one I use. So if you're on your own, otherwise, so yes, if please give us a rating, give us a little 5 stars. That would be lovely. And
cheeky 5 stars.
Yeah, give us a little review. Let us know what you think of us, and we will read it out on the show. Even if it's terrible, because that'd be quite funny, to be honest.
Any rating's a good rating.
Yeah.
Any rating's a good rating.
We'll read out every review.
Yes, we will. Yes, thank you for listening. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do at our email address, which is saltrivermovieclub@gmail.com, or on our Facebook page, which is Salt River Pictures, or on our Instagram, which is Salt River Pictures Official. You can, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can also just comment down below, and remember to like and subscribe and all that shit. If you are new to this podcast, hello, we are Salt River Movie Club. We do this. We do this every a movie episode every 2 weeks. Where we break down a movie, and you can find our podcast on all major podcast services, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, maybe Google Play,
Google.
and Podbean, and YouTube, I think that does us. I don't have. So. I usually end these episodes with a quote at the end. However, this show has kind of demoralized me a little bit, and I don't have one prepared.
Oh no!
No, I do. I know. I'm going to end with right. Thank you all. Turkish delight.
Hello there.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Stay on target.
This podcast is brought to you by Salt River Pictures.